Hello, Projector Movement family. Welcome to our podcast. I am extremely excited and honored to have Lisa Jacobson join us. She's becoming a regular here. Feels so nice just to have, more perspectives, more understanding, and honestly, more divinely guided wisdom that's we're both splenic in the moment that just is coming through. And yeah, we're really excited to drop in today and talk about projectors and how and why we're so misunderstood, and to shed some light about, how do we make friends with being the outliers, with being the ones that came here to not fit in, and how that path can be confronting and confusing, especially when we're younger, and honestly, even now. So we are excited to go deep, but before we do that, like we always start off, Lisa's going to guide us just into a short grounding practice so we can be here even more present and really honor that projector need for moments of pause.
Moments of pause. I love that.
Mhm.
So I invite you to just close your eyes for a moment and take the pause. Take a breath or two or three, just letting the energy in your body settle. Starting to let your mind quiet just a little bit, but not even worrying about what's happening there. Just take the pause. And in this place of openness, without changing the expression on your face, just see if you can bring the essence of a smile. Noticing what that does to the energy in your body. And then taking another intentional breath of quiet and stillness and pause here. And when you get your own internal cue, gently opening your eyes and bringing your awareness back to wherever you are.
Mhm. Thank you. I hope everyone could feel that subtle shift. It's such a beautiful area for us to live as projectors, that the subtle moments can really take us to a new vibration or just a different channel, different radio station even. So
That's
thank
it.
you.
It is the subtle moments. And those are the moments when we're not doing, really.
Mhm. Mhm.
We're
Yeah,
just being intentional.
yeah. Well, here we go. Let's talk about the oh so comfortable, uncomfortable topic of being misunderstood, and why that is real for us first and foremost as projectors, and what can we do about it, and how can we actually turn it into a place of pride, a place of strength versus a place of feeling upset and misunderstood, and just the
And that
realness of that.
there's something wrong with us
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's where the lack and the complex trauma comes in, that we think we're broken, we think there's something wrong with us, we think we need to be fixed,
yeah.
that we should be understood.
Mhm. Yep. I think that's, if we were imprinted with a stamp, I think that was a pre-verbal stamp, that
Absolutely.
what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?
Yeah,
And
because
then, yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Well, just saying, from a young age, when we don't have the perspective that we might have now,
Hmm.
that can really be a wound and have a lot of stories attached to it that we have to
Yeah.
grip.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. And I just, you're a mother of a projector. I have friends and family members who are projectors and have young ones. And, um, I can see, the labels and the misunderstandings of the behavior of projectors at a young age. I can't remember all mine, but that were misunderstood or told to be cut off, or I needed to conform or look in a certain way, and all of that internal messaging that creates a sense of pain and self-rejection and like you said, what's wrong with me? I need to be fixed. What's this? And I love the term invisible wound, this invisible wound of like, when in fact we were responding as projectors to the environment that we were in. It was a response. There wasn't anything wrong.
Right, right. And we were in a time where we couldn't draw boundaries.
Mm.
Even I don't think it was easy. Well, we're in our 40s, so when we were kids, to draw boundaries with our parents, people weren't talking about that. So if we didn't, or if I didn't want to be in a certain situation, it wasn't easy to say, I'm uncomfortable here. Like, this is just what you have to do, or this is who you have to hug, or this is what you have to
Mm.
be. And not being able to draw that also made me feel so misunderstood. And
Yeah,
then make us split from ourselves at a young age.
very
Question,
much so.
gaslight ourselves, lose our own center.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust our-
And especially, part of our design is we are accurately taking in the energy and then amplifying it. And then it's easy as a parent to point to the amplified energy because it's louder and bigger. But the misunderstanding is that there was something happening that needed to be addressed before we responded with that way. And so we can be looked at as the one who's emotionally dysregulated, or these sorts of things, or even physical representations of sickness wasn't innately something wrong to us, but we were responding because of these open beings to a situation or environment that was causing us to respond rejected or put a boundary up. And as we've said, that boundary can be sickness can be a boundary of stay away from me, or
Mhm.
no, it's a physical no without having to say it.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
a lot of our journey, in our childhood, even adulthood, when we didn't know we were projectors, has been a lot of confusing roads to lead us to, ultimately, if you're listening to this now, knowing that you're a projector, to this understanding of, oh, you know, maybe it wasn't something wrong with me. Maybe I was supposed to swim instead of climb trees my whole life.
Learning that changed my whole perspective of being misunderstood because it has always been my deepest.
Mm.
And when I just learned about being a projector and more about that, it made it not so much of a wound or a
Mm-hmm.
burden, but just, oh, this is what I'm reconciling with in this life. I don't
Yeah.
know. It made it less personal.
No, totally. The work I've done, quite a bit of work in my journey, on shame, the ugly word of shame, and the amount of shame that projectors can accumulate through life, which is what is wrong with me is innately the most shaming thing. Like, I have something inside me that's not functioning, that's rejected. I'm being rejected, or I'm not being seen. So the shame that binds these really innocent thoughts that aren't even right can manifest itself in so many different ways, impact our relationships, our physical body, and our work, and these sorts of things.
And our just feelings of worth,
And
our feelings
100%.
of worth, and our feelings of lack and smallness, which is also something that I think we just have to transcend. I don't think in the human design system there's lack,
Mm-hmm. No,
right? I think
no.
everybody's got what you need. And when you are your authentic self, everybody will have what they need. And that's a totally different story than lack or smallness.
Yeah. And yet, we spoke on a podcast recently about how, with our extreme sensitivity, we can grow up feeling weak, or we can grow up feeling that there is this lack. Like, what is something's missing here, which we now know is a sacral center, right? But we didn't know that. And having all of these big responses, or having these emotions that are, more exaggerated at times, having a physical body that's shutting down, that's going to continue to feed this thing that I am missing something, I am lacking something. And we end up misunderstanding even ourselves.
Right, right. And ultimately, the whole being misunderstood comes from an external validation
Mm-hmm.
viewpoint,
Mm-hmm.
because in the bigger scheme, it's really only us that can fully understand ourselves, and that causes us to express ourselves more authentically, but it's not always an external thing.
Mm-mm.
It's internal.
It's
It's an
internal. Yeah.
compassion and understanding of the complexity,
Yeah.
or understanding that it doesn't make sense. Like, even being understood might not always happen, but it's not
Totally.
brokenness.
Totally. And we were just sharing earlier, we're moving into 2027 where the incarnation cross, we're switching and we're moving into uh, the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And that is a cross that is an individuated cross where we are coming from a tribal time and we're moving into individuated self, individually responsible for emotions, individually expressing the uniqueness. You can look at human design charts. We're all so beautifully unique, and yet we're coming from a system that generations, you know, previously that have been morphing us into just look like everybody else, talk like everybody else, get the same job as everyone else, marry like everybody else, have a family like everybody else. Like, don't be different, And then here we come, projectors in the last 250 years, and we're like, we've never been here, and we're here to turn everything upside down, and we're here to be misunderstood, literally, not just because that's what we're here for, and
And
no
that
one.
leads more on authenticity.
100%. We're here to pave the way for that. We came with a design that no one did understand because it wasn't here for the history of time. We're new. So, and then no one taught us how to do it. But part of our purpose here, which is another point that I think is important for projectors to begin to just digest, is that you came here to be misunderstood. That means you're doing a good job.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's also something in a bigger perspective, being misunderstood or being understood might be overrated, because that's a very analytical thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of getting out of the analytical
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe even being understood is overrated.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
as important as it felt at one time, when we didn't
Totally.
realize, oh, yeah, you are just different. And
Mhm.
that's not again, that's not the means that something is wrong with you, or that you're
Right.
broken.
Well, I think too, being that we're moving to this individuated sense of self and taking care of our own needs, that if I understand myself, if I'm understanding and I'm in my authentic expression, then that is what I need. My connection between me and creation is the walk and the path that I'm was blessed to walk in this lifetime as a human. And if that's okay that it doesn't make sense.
Yes,
It doesn't need to make
it
sense.
doesn't need to make
Doesn't
sense.
need to
We
make
are
sense.
living on a spinning rock. Like, it's okay, it doesn't make sense, like,
Totally.
we just aren't okay with that.
Yeah. Well, I think we've been, this is another kind of default mode with projectors is we're externally focused and we've been focused. Part of our design is comes into fruition with connection with the other person. So we have been focused in our family systems to be the one that naturally can read everybody. Most likely a lot of us were taking care of everybody on some capacity. We get into friendships this way. And so our entire point of orientation is how am I'm as good as the other person views me. My sense of self is based on, do
That
you think
external.
I'm a good helper? Do you think I'm a good friend? I'm the best of friend, or I'm achieving. I've achieved so much. It's these external points that burn us out, cause us to not be our true self. So we could be misunderstood, and we're being misunderstood because we're not even in our true authentic expression, which we can feel because the recognition. I can't tell you, you probably can relate. The achievements that I've achieved and the things that I've done to try to feel understood have caused more misunderstanding with a layer of confusion because I'm doing it and I'm getting it. And then I'm like, what the fuck? It's
Yes.
still not feeling the thing.
Yes. Mm.
And it's because it's an external grab to be understood or to be validated from the outside in. And that's
Right.
what's flipping.
Right. Right. Or there's also, oh, I did all these achievements and I still don't feel it because that's not how we are designed.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, maybe other types, generators, manifesting generators can get, you know, that maybe
Totally.
being achievement is just something they do because they have energy, but it's different for us.
Yeah. They do it and get it, but the difference, one of them, from my understanding, would be part of their design isn't recognition. Ours is. So we're doing all this stuff
To get
wired
recognition.
like generators, seeing that they're able to accomplish and feel really good when they get a degree or when they get married or when they do the external lifestyle that they're more connected to, generators, this physical reality.
Yep.
We try to do it and we tend to do it. We can, I mean, the projectors, we can accomplish so
Yeah.
much, or we can, you know, what help people to such a capacity, but it's not life-giving. It is
Right.
life-taking because it's not that's not what we're supposed to achieve externally to get the recognition. That's not it. And, not even just achieving, we also, another way that life shows up for projectors is we get sick a lot, right? We get sick. And I can't tell you how much I've suffered in life with different sicknesses and diagnoses and this and that. And there was always a whisper that was like, that's not actually right, because it was also not addressing, it was misunderstood. They were treating just external things or putting together symptoms and saying it's this, and I'm like, but you're missing something. I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
And now I understand it. I'm here to be connected and not in this external um, focused reality, this physical reality. I'm here to align it to a frequency, align my internal emotional self, and be recognized for that presence within myself, with this emotional intelligence within myself. And that's an inside job.
Absolutely. And that's a way of being.
Yeah.
That's not a doing. It's a
Yeah.
way of being in the world.
Yeah. And the being energy, and we were just talking about this earlier, is the feminine energy, which is the projector energy. It's not that we also have masculine energy, but what we came to bring into balance is more of the beingness, is more of the emotion. The feminine is more emotional, the feminine is more spontaneous and playful and creative, and doesn't is misunderstood because she's all these things. The feminine essence is, in this moment I'm like this, and in this moment I'm like, it's adaptive, it's fluid, and it's not regimented. It doesn't make sense, right? It's not logical. It's
Like
not
that's
linear.
masculine stuff. Right. That's not feminine essence stuff.
Right, right. So we came here to walk a path of being misunderstood or being unique, or the one that has the different perspective on life, or who is doing that, who's beating to their own drum. And when you can let go of needing to be understood, there is a honestly a such a deep sigh of relief or a breath of fresh air. And I'll also say it doesn't come all at once. And there are times I still hate being misunderstood, you
That's
know?
that's the thing, but it's just how do we be with that
Right.
differently? You know, can we
Totally.
hold it at an arm's distance, know what it is when it comes
Yeah.
up, treat it with tenderness rather
Yeah.
than judgment and shame. And then again, it's about the vibration and the subtle energy and the emotional energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you done anything that you feel has helped you allow or grow a capacity? Because I know, where you're in Georgia, you are unique in the essence of your surroundings. So what has helped you kind of move from wanting to be approved of and understood and seen to I'm okay with where I am?
Well, I think a lot of it is a practice of really broadening perspective that always helps me, because when
Mm,
I feel like I'm not, I just feel like my perspective's small and I'm stuck in lack. So I just try to broaden perspective. And experience at this point has shown me that even if I'm about to run out of everything I need, there's no lack. Like somehow it comes, and I don't know, that helps me trust that when I forget. I have
mm,
enough experiences that keep that possibility open.
mhm. I love
But
that.
it's a practice to
Yeah.
keep,
Yeah.
because like, the snow goes down the same path down the mountain. I mean, it's a redirecting of that, and getting better at noticing when I'm going down that path of not trusting and not allowing and not surrendering, which is also the main feminine
Hmm.
essence.
Hmm.
Surrender.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I love that. I think for me too, when I actually started to own this uniqueness, there was actually energy giving. I actually think I felt like, thank God. Like I don't have, there was also it's not only like, oh, I'm so sad. There was also this expansion of like, I've known that my whole life too. Like I can just like,
Yeah.
great. I don't have to keep trying. So I don't have to keep fighting to fit in. And, I'm a 5-1 projector, which I call like a double projector because the fifth line's a projector. And I can't tell you, so much misunderstand. I can tell when how a person views me. I can just see it, and it used to be, it still can irk me at times, but like it can feel like I see the way you're seeing me, and I know that's not actually me, and we're just gonna have to accept that this is where we're at, you
Yes.
know?
Sometimes things aren't compatible, sometimes
Yeah,
things don't
yeah.
work out.
I've
Okay.
I've tried to, the worst thing I think a projector can do is then try to explain themselves away or like try to get people to see you in a different light. It's like that's not going to work either. So
I did for
I'm
many
totally,
years, and it doesn't work, and it comes across as being desperate, really.
no,
There's
100%.
a big desperation that comes with
I
that.
know. Bless our hearts.
I know. For real, for real. Yeah.
No, of course. I mean, I think that's part of, one of the gifts that comes with another, the light and the dark of everything, which is humanity. We're both. It's like we have this gift of foresight. And then, even within our close family systems and friendships, we can see things in people, and it's not our role to say it. We can see if someone's seeing us in an inaccurate lens. We also can see if they're doing things, and it's moving from, I think as projectors too, we're moving from pointing out and fixing, because that's masculine, to allowing and accepting where they're at and meeting them with love for
Yeah.
wherever they're at. It's not up to me, and who am I to
And
do
right,
that?
we're not doing certain things. We're not supposed to,
Right.
do it a certain way anyway. It's all just experience. So allowing,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah,
that person's experience. And even if I can see how it can be better for them, well, that's just their experience, the ride they're
totally,
on in this lifetime.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, being misunderstood, I think, opens us up for those environments where we really do feel understood, because
Hmm.
contrast. And that's also what helps me in moments when I feel misunderstood, is knowing that, oh, there are some environments where I'm 100% understood or feel seen.
Yeah.
It can't be like across the board, you're not able to be understood, because that's not true.
Yeah. Totally. I'm giving a total shameless plug for community right now, which is, I'm
Hmm.
sorry if that's shameless, but it is. I will say it is an epic place with projectors, the community, to have, a place where all of us have a shared understanding of so many things, and if, community is not a place for you, it is a place, you're always invited, but just having those spaces to use, like you said, to feel seen and to feel relaxed is so important for us.
Yes.
It allows for us to know ourselves even more, and to let these parts come forth, that we've had to chop off or push away in places that,
Right, without taking them personally,
right,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally. There was just something I was gonna say and see if it comes to me in this moment that I wanted to share. Hmm. It left. If it comes back, it will come back.
Those splenic hits.
The splenic hit. No, it was something with what you were sharing, but if not, it'll be for another point of conversation for us. But really just wanting to normalize this process of coming to ourselves as projectors, normalize the misunderstandings, and that again, that's a signpost that you're walking your path,
Absolutely.
and we're guides of the future. And I can't say it enough, we're guides in a new way. We're guides, and I'll say this in a loving way. We're guides, creator who created, per God, whatever word, you know they gave us a loophole in our design because we're guides for those who recognize us. So it's also having that humility and that recognition of this is a synergistic relationship with us and life. And so there's I will say I went through this phase of like, I'm misunderstood, and it's like, F everything. Like I'm a projector, and that energy doesn't necessarily lead us to the place that I think we want to be either. We're guides, and we're strategic guides. We're guides for those that invite us. And I was reading about this. The reason there's many reasons for the invitation, but for projectors, when we're invited, we get the energy from the person that's inviting us. So when we're sharing, it's not life draining, it's life giving. And often I would share and force and teach, even in my way I would coach people, was more of a teacher than of a guide. And so that's really being in tuned with the other person, respecting the other person as well, so we can maybe bridge some of the misunderstandings. Because we can create it too. We're not just victims. We can tell people things, point things out, not be invited, and create misunderstanding. That was really on us
Right.
to do things differently as well.
Right. Yeah. Maybe just trying to prove ourselves, which
Yeah.
definitely being misunderstood, even though such a deep wound, it's a story.
Mm-hmm.
Story.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yep. And we're here to write a new story. We're here to
And not be
be,
defined by the stories that have put on us or we've adopted or
yeah,
so much
yeah.
more.
And I'm saving room because I'm curious what you feel, but you know, the ways in which a projector is living, or is we need to live, you know, more in nature, time alone, time to just be. The collective is following,
Yes.
so the things that are unique to us, the wisdoms that comes through us, the perspectives that we're seeing are going to be less and less misunderstood as we are moving into this transition into 2027. I really believe that. So I don't know if it's going to be that, we're the ones that are these odd ducks forever, or if this is a temporary transition that we're paving a path for a new way, which is what feels more
And that
aligned.
feels more aligned to me too. That we
Yeah.
might be odd ducks in the sense that we
Yeah.
process differently, but that maybe this way of being that we're here to steward will be the
Yeah.
way that most people be.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very sustaining. And there,
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Joanna Macy, but she's a black
Yes.
70s, and she talks about us moving towards a life-sustaining society from an industrialized society. And in the same way it took centuries to move from an agricultural society to industrialized, she says we're moving from industrialized to life-sustaining, which just fits in human
Oh,
design to
totally.
situation and what projectors are here to bring. It's a sustainable way of living, which is to me means the most authentic way that we
Hmm.
are. That's how we live.
Definitely. Definitely.
So yeah.
Life sustaining. Well, that is such a beautiful concept that I feel is so true for where we're at in this point in time on the spinning rock. We need to sustain, and
Yeah.
this and sustaining life for projectors and all of us is a slower rhythm. It is a different way of doing things that will sound crazy to many, but is really the way that we can sustain life and actually begin to enjoy it, and
And
be
it
in,
sounds crazy to
yeah,
many. A lot of people are really stressed and
yeah,
overwhelmed and burnt out.
yeah, totally, totally. Oh, well, this was another amazing conversation. Thank you for bringing your wisdom and your insights and also just your real life examples of, how this shows up because it's not just a you thing, it's a everything. Projectors, we're all feeling this. We really share so much commonality. It just shows up differently. So hopefully you got some validation and some inspiration in this podcast, and we see you, and
See
we don't
you.
we don't misunderstand you.
Know, and we hope you meet yourself with grace and
Yeah,
compassion and love.
yeah,
And
yes. All right. I hope everybody does something really nourishing for themselves. And till next time, we will speak to you soon. Take care.
I